Let's talk about what going, G.
Good.
Easy, my bad.
Yeah. Boy, this is giving me some
I've been waiting my whole life
memories.
for this.
Does it remind you of prison?
Yeah, like seeing the blue bowls, blue cutlery, blue everything.
Should we try it?
Yeah, right, why not? My knife always used to break.
That used to happen to me as well.
All the time.
I'm gonna read a misconception to you.
Yeah, go on, bro. The worst criminals do the cooking. No.
Nah.
Definitely not.
It's definitely
you've got to be
trusted.
Yeah, you've got to be past security check.
Why did you want to be a chef?
My mum and my family were trying to send me back to the Caribbean. I used to always make cakes with my aunt. And they was like, "Bro, why don't you try cooking?" And I started it, and I was just messing around, and then I started making good money from it.
And then that followed you into prison.
They say that hospitality, 97% of people in hospitality are either drug addicts or alcoholics. So
really?
I remember you're always around food, drink, like it's a higher tempo environment, so people are getting on it. So that's why the niche in the market and said, why not?
You just took advantage of that.
Yeah. So when I went to Belmarsh, I was just onto them saying that I'm a chef, I need a job.
So like, is there someone in the kitchens telling you, don't season this?
You're forgetting these people have never cooked before. So you're taking a bunch of inmates that have never cooked before and being led by someone, and he's just saying, yeah, just put the chicken there. In Belmarsh, they hide all the seasonings. They lock it away.
They hide it?
Bro, it's locked away in a cage. You have to go with a gov to go and get the seasoning.
Did you ever have to bring anything back to the wing?
Man, I wasn't trying to do that, man. Because you get full on strippy, random ones, for bringing back seasonings. Like, it's not even worth it. Like, man are actually banking seasoning.
What do you mean by banking seasonings?
You know what I mean, man?
No, but, you know, for those that don't know, what do you mean by banking seasoning?
So they're wrapping it in cling and hiding
the seasoning.
They're hiding the seasoning just to bring it back.
Where they're hiding it? They're wrapping up seasoning and they're hiding it maybe between their bum cheeks.
Even about proper banking, bro. Remember if you're getting strippied, they're making man
squat.
Yeah.
Wow. They can just buy chocolates and crisps with their allowance. First of all, you've only got like £15 to spend a week, so who's buying crisps and chocolate? Well, you got to use it to buy credit. So people are saying that, like, you know, we can just buy food off the canteen. Is it that easy though?
No, it's not, because you need to plan your week. So you get the canteen sheet on Saturday, because your canteen coming next week Friday.
Yeah.
But we've also got to put money on for your credit. You need to buy stamps, batteries, everything. You need to plan everything, especially if you're gonna have a cook. Like, so we used to do a big whip.
Yeah. What's a big whip? Like a food boat, like a food boat. What is that?
So it's just like everyone's put in, either we cook a mad meal and we distribute it to everyone.
So for example, like I would buy the mackerels, you would buy the curry powder, chickpeas or something, then we all put it into
We'll put it in together and then we'll all have a big munch.
What's the most creative thing you've made?
In a kettle?
Kettle cooking, or creating a kettle whip, is the process of preparing meals in your prison cell. First, you need to buy ingredients from the prison canteen. Prisoners rewire the kettles to keep them hot. Then you can stew, saute, and even deep fry from the comfort of your cell. As tempting as this looks, please do not try this at home.
That's banging, yeah. That's actually banging. Right now, the food served in many prisons is often expired, rotten, or barely edible.
I was in the kitchen in Belmarsh for like 2 weeks. That was horrible though. Like, everything's mad overcooked. Brown Brussels sprouts, brown broccoli, the veggies all soft. There's no texture. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, bro.
Yeah, I remember there was a horse meat scandal a long time ago. And we all got letters saying we was eating horse meat, basically. Because I think what they do is they give you the bottom of the barrel food, innit?
Of course, with a budget
£2 a day,
£2 budget, bro.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's £2.5p now.
Yeah, it's £2, yeah. Certain places I was getting hot food twice a day.
Is it?
What, in Brixton you're getting hot food, hot lunch, hot dinner?
I've done loads of prisons and I've never had 2 hot meals a day. Apart from weekends, some weekends you do that.
Yeah, swear down. Like where?
Yeah.
What jars?
Been Belmarsh, Pentonville, Dovegate, Doncaster, Loudon, Thameside. I can go on. I've never had 2 hot meals and I've never had 3 home meals.
I don't think it's really humane that, of course, we've done a crime, but we should still be getting certain food, you know what I mean? Like when, especially when they're giving you like cold dinners and stuff, and you get a little sandwich and a penguin, and it's just like, how am I meant to survive from this? I said, what's the jelly saying?
It tastes sugar-free.
It looks like sugar-free. But why did you go to jail?
I went to prison for armed robbery and imitation firearms. Got 10 years, did 5 out of that. I feel like in Belmarsh, the food was the worst.
Horrible, bro. I remember when I first went jail, and I didn't know what jail was gonna be like, and I was so hungry. That sardine salad came with it.
You ate it.
Oh, of course.
That is a default, which is like, it could be anything on a day, innit? Like,
just what's left over.
And a lot of time it would be sardines, beef goulash and that. I'd probably say my favourite was whenever there was a tuna sandwich.
Yeah.
Because that was just the most normal type of food you can
Really?
get, yeah. In Belmarsh, you wasn't allowed can openers, so you'd literally have to go to the officers and they would have this big can opener. You'd have to give them the lid because people was using that as a weapon to cut people and stuff.
Yeah. Or I used to use the nail clipper.
Yeah, yeah.
The nail clipper
yeah.
trick works the same.
Is the pie nice? I'll give it a go.
It's a bit overcooked though.
Do you know what I used to do, yeah? If I got a pie, I used to bust it open like this and then come in from the bottom. The pies used to have barely any filling in it.
No, just all pastry, bro.
All pastry, no filling in it. Do you remember your first meal when you got released?
I had a mad fry up, like 3 eggs, sausages, bacon, the whole shebang.
Did you eat it?
Yeah.
Swear.
I was hungry.
I did like 5 years straight. And then, you know, coming outside was like...
Nervous, innit?
I was very nervous.
Yeah, anxious, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean, innit? And
everyone's moving too quick.
everything's moving quick. It was like another reality for me. I came out on the motor, Mrs. picked me up, we were on the motorway driving back. So we pulled up at a service station. So naturally I'm like, McDonald's, innit? Bro, but I didn't eat the McDonald's. Like I ate half of the burger and like half of the chips. And maybe that is because of the nervousness.
Yeah, the anxiety. Was
Anxiety
anxious,
and stuff like that coming back into the real world.
And you feel reborn when you come out, bro. Like
Yeah, like
it's a fresh start.
yeah, car. I think a lot of people don't realise that you're in prison's a totally different world. Do you know what I'm saying? But, bro, that's enough about kettles and...
Done, man's never
You
going
know.
back there, boy.
Hopefully this is the last time we're gonna see this blue, horrible cutlery and
PTSD, innit?
a lot of PTSD, man. Thank you for coming down though, bro.
Come on, my brother.
Love.
Lovely dinner there, boy.
Oh, mate.
Please find this bit of grub.
Thank you very much.
Scrumptious. Do you know what a lot of people probably don't know? You guys actually eat the prison food, don't you?
It was pretty good when I first started there. It did decline, obviously down to a budget.
Yeah.
Prison cereals, you probably didn't eat them, did you?
No.
Healthiest cereals ever. No sugar, no salt, like cardboard. So we'll pass on that one. However, the rice pudding, it certainly weren't like that. It used to come very stodgy, very hot, and at times it was weaponised. You know, if somebody flicked a spoon at that at you, 3rd-degree burn.
All right, let me get one of these misconceptions. It's illegal for prisoners to be friends with prison officers.
You are taught friendly, not friends, yeah? The Prison Officers Handbook or Prison Service Handbook goes into it more specific. It basically is saying that you shouldn't show any emotions or no attachment or anything like that. They've rewritten it because there's a lot of corruption, a lot of people falling in love.
The officers that are cool, they get more respect, and if someone's being disrespectful towards that officer, a lot of the time, the guys would say, wait, hold on, he's all right.
Correct. Yeah. Dynamic security, yeah, big thing of mine, that.
Yeah.
And it's them relationships that made it a safe place.
Have you ever witnessed that prison officers bringing anything in? I mean, you've been in prison a long time.
Obviously, I won't have seen people bringing things in because obviously they do it covertly. However, I did catch a young lady, who should remain nameless, in a compromising position.
You actually saw that?
Yeah, with a prisoner.
No. Yeah. Is it illegal to have sex with a prisoner?
Yeah.
It's absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
There was a situation where there was this one officer, and you know, he started off bringing 18 plus games. You know, you wasn't allowed 18 plus games. He started bringing in flour for the guys to make dumplings and whatnot. And then he started bringing in the parcels. And how he got caught was, he was going on holiday every other month. He was rocking up to work in an Audi TT. Kind of got figured out that way. One day they just, you know, security randomly stopped him, found him with a few phones.
There was plenty at it.
Do you think they're just not getting paid enough, or?
It's inexperience, no life skills, not realising the seriousness of it. You've been inside. You will see officers who have victim written on them.
Yeah.
All prison officers are sadistic.
I started off prison like quite young.
Yeah.
And then at first it was very much us and them. As I got older and you start to actually have a conversation with these guys, you know, you realise they're just doing their job as well. I did have a situation and security came in on me for a search. They battered me, choked me. I think I was on the floor, they had me in like a chokehold. I wasn't resisting, nothing like that. I was getting punched in the face. At one point I had to play dead, so they just let go of me. Went into the holding cell, concussed, threw up in the holding cell, came back, they found nothing. And it was actually one prison officer that reported it to a police liaison officer.
It's indefensible.
Yeah.
I would suggest probably one, maybe two people who came in, led that, and the others went along with it. A lot of people are sheep, they're absolute sheep. I've been in a position, whistle blowing, yeah, like the guy who reported it. Everyone turned their back on me. Apart from my mates on the wing, they knew what had happened. We had a senior officer who was just knocking the shit out of people because he could. Bad bully. It got challenged. I ended up in a disciplinary. The prison weren't interested. I was told on one wing, if it kicks off on this wing, don't get involved because my staff won't back you up.
Yeah.
So I told him what he could do.
Yeah.
I left that wing.
And I respect that, and the exact same thing happened to me. As I put the claim in, I was shipped out to CCAT, funny enough, and I've been trying to get my CCAT for years.
I mean, you're young, easily influenced. You follow someone in his cell, he starts beating somebody up, what do you do?
I guess they do that, but you expect them to have a duty of care, and I'm a small guy, you know, there was about 4 officers on me.
Yeah.
That was just basically bullying. I felt like I violated at the time.
I mean, I know, as you say, it's dead easy to stand in a crowd. It's not so easy standing on your own, and that's what happens.
Yeah. What was the worst incident you saw in prison in your 15 years experience?
I thought about this quite a lot. I think some of the self-harming, people who are really mentally ill, waiting to go emergency section or whatever to a hospital, unmedicated, not knowing what they're doing, cutting, someone eating their own excrement.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The inhumanity, that's both sides of the door.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And there's nothing you can do. I'll follow you, David.
Well, I'm not going to eat all of this. Let's just say that much. You try some of this?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I've been ever me. Having tried the prison rice pudding, that is...
It's good compared to that.
Yeah. There's no comparison. I would say the prison rice pudding was good for putting wallpaper up and nothing else.
Yeah. You don't even need a degree to be a prison officer.
They're basically taking anyone. There's an online test. For some reason, young people can pass that test, but the majority of people going now, prison officers, are young lasses. No males. There's no people with life experiences going, you know. They've got the youngest workforce ever, the most inexperienced, and the least staff.
I used to see little 18-year-olds look like they was fresh out of Tesco's, coming on the wing, trying to lock people up, no people skills.
Sadly, young people being in the job, you know, started at 18, 4 years, the mental health's wrecked. I won't want to do that job at 18. I couldn't have done it. I was like nearly 40 when I started the job. But, you know, you're just going into an extremely stressful environment now. The training, I think they make it 9 weeks, so it sounds a bit special.
Sounds better than 8 weeks.
Right. The only part of any value to me when I was under training was going in the prison on a wing, face to face with prisoners, and watching how people deal with them, and the control and restraint. The rest of it was a waste of time.
What would you say the role of a prison officer is?
Me?
Yeah.
You've got people in your care. Prisoners rely on everything. Ideally, you'd have lots of prison officers like me, understanding, got a bit of presence as well, you know, being about life skills. The problem is, it's a miserable place. You know, nobody wants to be there. Staff don't want to be there. It's a negative environment. Prisoners don't want to be there. And it plays on you.
Do you know what, Sam? I wasn't expecting you to be so understanding.
Thank you for having me.
You're sick, by the way.
Right
Thank you for coming down, man.
No. Pleasure's all mine, mate.
Yes, mate.
Take care. All the best.
You too, man.
Yeah, all the
you
best.
too. So for people that might be confused, yeah, because we're comparing prisons and whatnot, you was actually in a female prison, was you?
No, I look like I should have been.
When you was going to prison, have you made this transition?
No, not at first, but I hadn't just got there yet. I just felt so boyish, and the women was just so welcoming of me. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as I got in the wing, they were whistling. Yeah. Even though we're laughing now, it gave me that confidence I needed transition-wise, because it was like, I just needed that confirmation that I am okay to be who I am and people are going to accept me.
So these are some real-life misconceptions. Trans men are a threat to women in prison.
I don't think so. Me personally, I was never a threat to a woman in prison. Like you said, there's good and bad in all of us. Yeah, there might be the odd trans man that's a bit of a weirdo. What danger could I put a woman in prison? We need love, man. We was like one big family in there. Now, a lot of these women were surviving things, domestic violence, sexual assaults, you know, all sorts of sexual exploitation, criminal exploitation, and they're having to deal with their life now in prison without their kids, without their family, feeling like bad people.
I remember when I was inside, there was men transitioning into women, obviously not fully transitioned. I was on what's called TC, therapeutic community. In that place, you can't be aggressive or nothing like that, but I can tell you for free, if that person was on a general wings,
they'd have got it.
he would have been in for some trouble, do you know what I mean?
But he was being himself.
She was being herself.
Did she have like a fella and that? Was it like a cut? Because in Holloway, we used to get nicked for a lesbian, it's called LA, lesbian activity.
Word.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in female prisons, that's very much accepted, but in male prisons,
I didn't think it would be.
is that because they just need to fulfill their needs?
I'll be honest, women's prison is rife for it. I think it's a comfort thing, a love thing. I think these women have got kids and...
What's the punishment? Do you get extra days? Is it
get
basic?
extra days, you get took down, you know, like to the block, adjudicated. You have to have the adjudication. And then they either keep you down for 7 days or they move your wing so you're separated from whoever you was caught with.
So I didn't know it was a mousse. So as I've put my spoon in it, I've just seen it's mousse. It's a strawberry mousse. And it's just making me sick. Let me try. What's interesting is me and you both being in the same prison, but
Different sides.
different sides, because we was both in Peterborough.
Yeah, man.
And you was on obviously the female side, and I was on the male side.
Yeah. But when I went to Peterborough, I was older, so that was the last prison sentence I'd done.
Yeah.
And I turned up like I'm sat here now, like full-blown deep voice. They're all looking at me, the screws didn't even know me, and they're looking at me like, looking at each other like, you've brought him into the wrong bit.
Yeah, it's a mistake.
And then they was like, where are we gonna put you? Like, you're gonna cause a disturbance.
100%.
We had like a little strip.
A strip like a panel to see through.
And as I've looked up, I can see like 6 eyes,
Yeah,
like all on top
everyone's
of
just
each
checking
other.
you out. All right, teenagers don't go to adult prisons.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
There's YO landings, young offenders landings, wings.
Yeah.
That's where I first started. Went to prison at 17, so.
Back before, they didn't let, if you was under 21, you couldn't be an adult. It was like 18 to 21, you're YO, before that, you're juvenile.
Yeah.
Recently, they changed it to the minimum age is 18.
So you're on the wing, yeah.
You got 18, 19-year-olds.
With big men.
With big men and stuff.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's good to have the younger ones on the wing with the older fellas?
But I think a lot of the kids, probably never had men in their lives,
Not
older
a
men
role
or anything
model.
like that.
Yeah.
Or just have like an older man
Just around.
guide you. Yeah. When it's just purely young offenders,
wild.
it's just wild, innit? Do you know what I mean?
I actually got moved up onto the 5s with the lifers as a YO.
Yeah.
So all the women that have been in there for like murders,
Yeah.
all the big crimes, they was all plotted up there, but it was such a different experience for me, because on the YOs, it was like raw prison.
Yeah.
Then I got took up onto the 5s, onto the lifers' wings, and they've all got like, you know, like at home when you got the thing around your toilet, like the little mat, little curtains that weren't bed sheets. To be put with the women, the older women, was quite comforting for me. So when you first went in prison, was it a big bird or a little one that you done?
Yeah, I've always had big ones, as in like over 2 years. Like my first bird was about 4 years, and then came out, and then had to do the recall.
So you were stuck. You was basically in a
cycle a bit. Never had a birthday out in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Christmas or nothing like that in my 20s.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to hug you, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but it is peak. I've done Christmases in there and that. My family, my mum's spending Christmas without a kid and that.
Yeah.
Like, and it wakes you up. We all make out we don't care and things like that, but it's like, you end up sitting there thinking, why am I here?
What am I doing
What
here?
have I done here?
The fish is not bad, to be fair, man. It's not.
Friday,
It's a Friday,
yeah,
man. Every Friday, do you know, I don't think we've spoken about this. Every Friday.
Did you have it on a Friday?
Yeah, I think
Fish and
every
chips?
prison had fish on the Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was, though.
Once a criminal, always a criminal.
Come on.
What do you think about that?
Everyone deserves a chance at redemption.
Yeah.
There's loads of examples of that, including myself.
You're a big example of that as well.
No, respect, bro.
I work with like kids and adults and boxing. I'm like the first trans boxer in Europe now that fights men that were born men. And I weren't ever a bad person. My mum was out at work working from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. So there was an 8-year-old on their own from all that time. And I just got in the wrong crowds and run with it, and that was it. But if you put on paper 13 times in prison, 3 different jails by 25, people would be like, don't bring him near me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But if you met me and I didn't say that to you, you'd be like, where's Dan? What are we doing today?
Yeah, that's why it's important to understand the circumstances that people go through.
Yeah, people need to understand not everyone that's in jail's a bad person and not everyone in church is a good person, mate.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's facts.
I think everyone's got a chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
Man. Thank you for coming down,
No,
man.
thank you, man. Thanks for having me and speaking
man.
on this
Hopefully you don't
stuff.
have to eat this again.
Nah,
Yeah.
we'll leave this where it was. But thank you, man.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for coming down, bro.
Oh, brilliant, man.
So blue.
Yeah, boy. Chicken curry and donuts.
Amazing.
So I'm gonna read you a misconception.
Okay, go for it.
Women's prisons are all empty, which shows they hardly commit any crimes.
Oh, wow. No, there's overcrowding, just like the men's.
Yeah.
100%. No, they're definitely not empty. They shipped me from Peterborough to Yorkshire just because overcrowding.
So I heard from someone else that you've got dorms where there's like multiple, like more than 3 prisoners in.
It depends on where you are and what prison you're in. But women's prison is just open and closed. And especially when you get like more to open, there are dorms. They can have like up to 8.
8 people in a
Yeah, and so I remember at the start, I knew I was going to prison, so I packed a bag and I tried to get as much as I would want in there, and most of it got denied, like my mousse, my foundation, or anything like in a glass bottle. And I remember when I was first in, I had dramas with my hair, and I remember it was really sweet actually. Like the women on the wing were like, get this gel, and I remember just gelling my hair up for like 2 weeks just on my head. But I remember there is a catalogue that you can get certain things on, certain products.
But you'd have to save up your money.
100%, you'd have to save up.
Because I'm thinking like things like makeup. Obviously you can look good for yourself a lot of the time, just to feel good or whatnot.
I only did it for a visit.
Yeah, for a visit, yeah. Like, did you have your partner or anyone seeing you?
I didn't have a partner on the out while I was in.
Yeah.
I have 3 amazing friends, and my 3 sisters and my mum and dad. It means a lot, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. For me, visits was a bit sad because I was doing a long time. And I guess like someone coming on a visit, you get a sense of freedom, you get a sense of the outside, like, you know, and then at the end of that, you have to walk back to the wing.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt the same, and there was times where I was like, oh, I don't even want visits for a little bit.
Yes.
But to keep
them happy.
To keep them happy, because you've got to think about them. Like, they are going through this sentence too.
You know, I ended up having my missus in there and ended up having loads of visits.
Did you?
Yeah, loads wanted to.
Did you get yourself ready, like the girls do?
Of course, yeah. We used to like
fresh everything.
Yeah.
Pick your best outfit.
There's one outfit that you'd never wear on the wing. Yeah,
you'd only wear on a visit.
Only wear it for a
100%,
visit.
and you'd plan them as well.
And then come out there just looking
100%.
good. Yeah. So obviously you get a certain amount to spend every week. So things like sanitary products, do you have to pay for that, or do you have to pay for it in the canteen, or is that given to you?
Sanitary products were given on the wings, but they'd use the wrappers for, you know, Rizla.
Word.
Yeah, so they kind of stopped giving us enough. The majority of women in prison have committed non-violent offences and do not need to be there. Interesting.
Because what did you go to prison for?
So yeah, I was inside for GBH. Mine was first offence. I've never been in trouble before and never intended or never want to ever intend to be a violent person. Like I was 19, I didn't get help. I don't think that I was understanding any of it at the time, really.
Did you ever get donuts? Because I do remember
Yes.
whenever they had donuts, I always picked donuts.
I remember donuts all the time. What else was there? Crumble.
Apple crumble, that was bad.
With loads of custard.
Loads of custard, yeah. You should binge watch Orange is the New Black so you can see what prison will be like.
Oh my gosh, you should not binge watch Orange is the New Black.
I've never seen it.
Even when I knew I was going to prison, I was still watching it and I was wondering why I was getting so paranoid about going to prison. If you haven't been to prison, just don't have any expectations, really. There's a lot of relationships inside female prison. So,
Is that what they call gay for stay?
gay for the stay. There is a lot. It's probably the majority of what the women are doing.
I'm curious about the whole process of you coming into prison. What is the process like?
We come on the same sweatbox. The sweatbox it's like a van where they have basically cells in the van. So I don't know, they probably hold about 6 or 8, like zero. It's probably like here to here.
Yeah.
There's no seatbelt. If I wanted to stand up in it, I'd be like this.
Yeah.
There's a little window that doesn't open that you can see out and they can't see in. You're kind of like this close to the wall in front.
And if they break, you
yeah. So you kind of just have to put your hands out if they break.
Yeah.
And then there's just loads of carvings in front of you that say,
free me.
yeah, free me. I remember this, you got a choice of 2 bags. One of cigarettes.
Pack, yeah,
2
smokers
packs.
pack or non-smokers pack.
Yeah. So the non-smoker pack had like,
Bag of sugar.
yeah, like juice and coffee and tea and like all of that stuff. And then the smokers pack was literally just cigarettes.
So how did you prepare for release? For me personally, after I did this 5 years, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking, I've been in this place for 5 years straight. So it was my first bit of freedom. I was very overwhelmed at what life might be, you know.
Like when I left prison, I generally felt like I had prisoner still stamped on my head for a long time. As a female, it was worse, you know, it was more judgment there. You know, it's not attractive.
Yeah.
Imagine a female said that they've been to jail, how would you respond?
When I hear prison for a female, I do think the stereotype thing, and you know, I think it's just natural for your mind to go there. You're just as humans, like you're just thinking of someone that's rough or that's like, you know, like...
But these are the stigmas we're trying to break.
Yeah, exactly. So I've spoken to so many different women now, and obviously I don't think like that anymore.
I think I definitely struggled at the start of coming out with, you know, telling people that I've been to prison. I didn't tell anyone. And then I had to deal with like work and stuff like that, people I met. And then I dealt with, oh, what am I gonna say to guys, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm comfortable. Like, I'm comfortable about who I am. Like, I'm proud of who I am. I love who I am and where I've come from and, you know, how I've got here.
I'm sure people say to you, you don't look like you've been to prison.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
You get annoyed at that?
No, because I guess that's a nice thing. It's not a bad thing that someone said that, but it's okay. It is a little bit annoying because then I think in my head, well, what does somebody look like when they've gone to jail? Like, there are people like me and people like you.
I totally agree with you, and I think they expect you to have a big scar down your face or something like that, or just look rough.
Yeah, the more we show that people are human and doing well or doing this or doing that or just generally
the more we have conversations about it, I think.
Then the more it helps, so this is good.
About 2 portions.
At least, I reckon. Do you remember those like fun-size Mars bars when you were a kid? Everything was fun-size.
Yeah.
That's what it was in prison.
This is an interesting one. Prison is not supposed to be fun. They're treated better than homeless people.
I would say that certainly places like Wandsworth that I was in, the conditions were so barbaric and so inhumane.
I did come across, and I'm sure you did too, being in a remand prison. There was quite a few homeless people that intentionally went to prison.
They actually emptied a lot of Wandsworth cells on about the 15th of December. They said they do this every year. They have a huge clear out. They knew there'd be loads of homeless people doing exactly what you said, which is committing a minor crime to get 8 weeks inside, just somewhere warm.
Was prison anything you expected?
Not at all. It's the opposite in every way. I thought it'd be full of like just real criminals.
Yeah.
In the maddest way. But you know what I mean? Like they weren't bad, they were mad, I found a lot of the time. I had a young son when I went away. He was just turned 4 when I was convicted. And, you know, if you'd put me in a Holiday Inn at the other end of the country, let's say,
Yeah.
that would still have been awful for me because I wouldn't have been near my son. You knew what to expect when you went in, or?
No, I was kind of like you. So when I first went in, it was kind of like, I felt like it was going to be a free-for-all, you know, find the biggest guy, beat him up kind of thing. I guess for a lot of black people in particular, as you come into prison, you're just automatically involved. You know, you see like another black person come in the wing, you don't even know if they're involved in gang life or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, say someone like you walked in the wing, you wouldn't be a threat or nothing like that.
I'm neutral.
Did you feel like you fit in because you don't look like the standard criminal?
What are you trying to say? Half the time they thought I worked there. People come up to me and say, Gov, you know, can you get me a form or something? All prisons are treated equally. You do the crime, you do the time. Well, we know that's rubbish, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, the inequalities are terrible in prison.
So you was in for fraud?
Tax fraud, yeah.
Tax fraud. What sentence did you get?
I got sentenced to 5 years and then it ended up being Wandsworth. Weird, you get more for white collar crimes than you do for violent crimes. And I'm not here to sit and say that's wrong.
You say you get more for white collar crimes than violent crime?
Well, yeah. Like I knew people who'd done white collar crimes who got like 15 years. But yeah, they were getting 15 years and you get 6 on a GBH or something.
I think 6 at the minimum on the GBH.
Yeah.
But I think, I disagree with that because obviously violent crimes can go all the way up to murder.
Yeah, that's
life
true.
sentences.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh God,
It's horrible, isn't it?
it's disgusting. I'm not eating any more of that.
Do you think certain jobs are given to certain prisoners and, you know...
Was it corrupt in terms of
Yeah.
got what job?
Yeah, was it corrupt?
Yeah, it was terrible, and I put my hand up to it. I got about 8 or 9 jobs, and I got some really
Was you
plump
red band?
jobs. You know what? Bizarrely, they wouldn't give me a red band.
Why do you think you was favoured?
Look, it's no secret. The inequalities of the outside world, I think, get magnified in prison. So I think
100%.
the fact that I'm white, the fact that I was middle class, the fact that I sort of seemed to come from an educated background meant that the officers, who were massively understaffed and needed prisoners to keep the place running, they automatically kind of came to me because they thought I'd be less likely to misuse the position than someone who was young and black.
Yeah, it's very honest of you.
Yeah, I mean, I did, in my defence, I did also try and share the love because I thought if I capitalise on this too much, I'm going to piss people off.
Yeah, people are going to resent you.
People are going to resent me. So if anybody asked me to do anything, quite often it was filling in forms.
Yeah.
So I did a huge amount of my time was spent filling out forms and just helping other prisoners with all the admin.
I remember I was on a wing for about a year and I was trying to get a cleaner's job. And I had been in prison at this point for about maybe 2 or 3 years, and I felt like I've got enough experience in prison. I've done all my cleaning courses.
Yeah.
I've done the biohazard course. I've done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Biohazard, it was basically where there'd been an incident in a cell that involved some kind of bodily fluid.
Feces,
Urine.
blood, urine, yeah.
And sometimes all the above.
All of the above.
And basically the officers were so scared of catching like AIDS or hepatitis, they thought, oh no, we'll get the prisoners to clean us up.
And then, but there was people coming in and 3 months in, cleaner, 3 months in on the servery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been there for a year. And then at one point I just had to do a protest. I stayed out in the yard and I just refused to come back in until I spoke to a governor.
Did that work?
No, went to block. I got blocked off and I had no chance of getting a job after that.
One of my jobs was doing the register. So you know when there's free flow, we had to tick off the names of free flow.
You did that?
I did that. It was insane that I got asked to do the register because I'm a prisoner. Not only that, I've been convicted of a crime of dishonesty and I was there ticking off names.
I think that's absolutely wild because honestly, I've never heard, I've been, like I said, I've got 10 years experience. I've never heard of a prisoner doing the roll, it's the roll check, isn't it?
Roll check. But the advantage of that was I got out my cell about 10, 15 minutes before everyone else. As soon as that door was open, I was like a rabbit across that wing, get on the phone, 2-minute call with my son.
We had like lawyers on the wing, lawyers. On the wing. Yeah.
Lawyers, a big inverted commas there.
Yeah. Did you get people coming to you asking to...
People came to me asking for help in their confiscation. And I was like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a middle-class guy with glasses. And they were like, yeah, but my brief won't return my calls. What do you think? And I'd go, well, let's have a look at it then, you know. I really doubled up on sugar in my tea and coffee because it was just the only way to get carbohydrate into my system.
I used to get a loaf a day. I'd like make it my mission to go through a loaf of bread a day.
Because there was always someone there, and someone had the job of like handing out slices at the end.
Bread man. Yeah.
Bread man.
It's impossible to get a job after prison.
I've stayed in touch with a lot of people who I know from my time inside, and unfortunately a lot of them have slipped back into reoffending because they found it so difficult to get a paid job. They've been trying, they've sent out their CVs, but the fact that they've got a record, a lot of prisoners really struggle, and they shouldn't. It's very healthy for society to give people a second chance.
So I came out and I wanted to do a construction course in my local college, but they had knocked me back saying that I couldn't do the course, and I'd gone down, did the initial test and everything, passed it, and they got back to me and said I couldn't do the course. And I was very disheartened because I thought to myself, if I can't even do this, and this is just to do labour work, what am I going to do kind of thing? But luckily, I'm the exception as well. I started a YouTube channel, started interviewing ex-prisoners like myself.
Brilliant.
To get their story, more as a deterrent for other people that might be aspiring to go to prison, or maybe people that think it's not all that bad.
Shouldn't just be, dare I say, white middle class people like me that are coming out and talking about it, because I'm this kind of tiny minority.
Yeah.
And I think you speak to a much, you know, you go into prison, it's disproportionately young black men there, and they need, you know, there needs to be a voice that is from that lived experience rather than the middle class person who had a much easier time.
Your perspective has been proper insightful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming down, man, and having breakfast.
Thank you for this feast. You know, this has brought back all sorts of the wrong memories, but no, it's good.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers.